Hey guys, it's Kyle, and I'm back for another video of what it's like having solar panels in Michigan. And I'm sitting here. It's Friday. It's another extremely cloudy day here, and it's just that time of year. So I'm here to review the January bill, which is December activity. This month we did have much less kilowatt hours generated than we ever have, and it looks like there's some actually additional charges on the bill. So very interesting. We'll dive into it right now. So drum roll, here's the final amount that we paid, $64.05, and that was for 322 round up kilowatt hours for the month. So that was for 12/1 to 1/1, which was 32 days. And as usual, I'll go through the in-phase data, and I did get some new sun data that I was gonna share with you guys as well. So we'll start with the in-phase data as usual, which once again is just the data that the solar panel company gives you, and you get the free rights to the app when you get those, so you can kind of see how much you're generating. So I did highlight the days that had the largest kilowatt hours, ended up being about 6 days that were over 6 kilowatt hours, and with a total of 91. So just to kind of compare what the sun data shows, so we'll go over the sun data tab. And this was, I'll cite my sources here. This is for currentresults.com, has weather, Michigan. You can pick your city. It doesn't have all the cities. So I just had to pick the city closest to us, which is Muskegon. And that gives the total amount of sun days in Michigan on average. And a sun day is basically anything that's over 70% of the time that it's sunny. So if a sunny day will include days that have cloud cover up to 30% during the daylight hours. And you can see that on the source here that I have. Anyway, we're in December data, which is January bill. You can see it predicts about 6 Sundays, and when I actually look at our data here, it really was about 6 sunny days. The kilowatt hours generated is much less just because of the fact that the sun is only out for, I don't even know how many hours, but it's very, very short. And I think it ends up being from like 8:30 a.m. to like 5:30 p.m., somewhere in there. So definitely not a lot. Um, but yeah, so we'll go through everything that we normally do as well. And you're probably looking at the bill and be like, wow, this guy has solar panels. $64 is pretty high to have solar panels, and to that I would say you're right. So I was definitely not very happy with that, and I think really what it comes down to is the fact that when we got the solar panels installed in June, that's really when you want to be earning all your credits that you can use in the winter. I've said that in my other videos, and we really weren't able to do that. It didn't. We got them installed in June, but we didn't really start getting our generation until July. So May and June are the biggest months where you get to produce, and I think this next summer is when we'll produce all those and really get to use these credits in this time of the year next year. So we will see if we have to add a couple panels, we can do that as well, but we'll get there when we get there. So anyway, 91 kilowatt hours generated total. 35 were sold back. So that really means that we had 55 that were actually used while they're being generated that same minute. So if they're generated but they're not being used, that's when you actually sell them back, and that's only what you'll see on your bill. So it's always confusing for people when you have 55 that kind of aren't showing up on the bill. You have to do the math to figure that out. So some other notable items here. So that the amount we sold back, 35, only resulted in $3.62 of a credit generated. So pretty minimal. As far as the charges go, it's always baffling to me because we're paying for $30 of energy. The rest of the bill, actually over $30, is just from other charges. I mean, you have the system access of $8, distribution of 20, and you have the low income assist fund, power plant, securitization, just tons of charges. And this list just seems to be getting larger. And I'll go through these other ones here in a second, but just to compare. So you have all of these other charges here. You can see if you compare the same bill last year, you're looking at so many less charges. And while they're each like maybe 50 cents, 10 cents, whatever, they do, of course, all add up. So that's how you get, end up with $64 pretty quick. Um, so some new charges I noticed this month are the Karn 1 and 2. You have the securitization charge, as well as you have a bill credit that they gave us. I don't know why they didn't just combine them, but you can see we were charged $2.11 this month, but they actually took $1.30 out of that. So it looks like, you do the math, ends up being around 80 cents that you're charged. I did do some research on what Karn 1 and 2 stands for, if anybody cares to really dive into it. I don't work there, so I can't say for sure, but from the article, it looks like Karn 1 and 2 are power plants that were using coal to generate electricity. Karn, I think, is like a facility in Michigan that has 4 different energy producing units on it. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Looks like they're phasing out 1 and 2, 3 and 4 that use like natural gas and oil. They're going to keep. So once again, don't quote me on that. That's what it looked like from the article. But it does look like 1 and 2 related to Karn are being phased out. So hopefully just a one-time charge, but it looked like they wanted to pass those charges on to us for shutting those down. That's my best guess. I'm not saying that for sure. So yeah. Some other notable items here are this January energy bill. You can look at the total electricity use, and it is kind of like a nice little bell curve here. You can see that for whatever reason, January's bill ends up being decently higher than the typical bell curve you see. And I don't know for sure. I'm going to attribute it to the fact that, so the January bill is for December activity, which is the lowest amount of sunlight that you will get. So people end up turning their lights on at 5 o'clock, whenever they're home from work. And then those lights are going to stay on until you go to bed. And then once again, you're going to have to turn the lights on in the morning when there's no light. So that's my guess on that. And, if you're at home more, maybe you end up using electronics a lot more. So it's very possible that that's the case. And then you can see in February, it does level out a little bit. March, starts increasing as we get closer to summer. So just some interesting facts there. And then I'll also go through the typical data that I always do, which is the in-phase data compared to the amount we're total charged, and then kind of just giving you the breakdown of, if we saved, if we paid extra, all that good stuff. So you can see the in-phase data was, like I said up here, 91 kilowatt hours. Self-generated outflow, the amount we got credited for, is 36. So that leaves us with a total used while producing of 55. And we have the total charged of 322, you can see on the bill here. So if we subtract that 55 that we used while producing, gives us 377, which is what our bill would have been if we did not have solar panels. So do the math on that with my handy chart up here, somewhere in this area. You can see that we would have probably paid about $78, but since we had the solar panels, we only paid $64. So that ends up saving us around $14 just for the fact that we had panels in December. So that's, not very much. You'd hope, you get most of that saved from the panels. And we do still have a loan on them. It's a high interest loan, but it's for like 25 years. We'll refinance it or pay it off soon, of course. So when you add that in there, which is $86 per month, we ended up paying an extra $72 this month to have solar panels. And like I've already said, I won't say it a million times, hopefully. Maybe I will, who knows? But we eventually will pay that off. And next summer, we're going to have a lot more credits that we get to use at this time. So it will make a lot more sense when you actually get a full year's worth of data in there. So yeah, I definitely still worth it. We're still looking at around that, 11, 10-year payoff period if we pay these solar panels off. So it is still worth it that I've seen. This month obviously is not a good month, and you wouldn't expect it to be with how many cloudy days we get here in Michigan. So yeah, that's something that I'll always continue to review with you guys. Hopefully January isn't too bad either, but it still should be a pretty low producing month as well. And I'll continue to go over the sun data. I'm hoping I can find some actual data other than me just checking if it's sunny every single day. I'll do it if I have to, but that I can actually compare actuals to what the averages are. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this month, guys. Really appreciate you listening. I did wear my yellow shirt because it's so gloomy out, and it would be nice to see the sun here. So hopefully soon. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. As always, you can email me, comment on here. I always love to hear if what other people's panels are like and how much they're getting from having them. So yeah, thanks a lot for listening, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions.